Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, friends and supporters, students and alums, colleagues and comrades. Welcome to the conference celebrating the CAPS' 10-year anniversary. My name is Andrew Mertha. I'm a professor of government and specializing in China and Chinese bureaucracy, as some of you in this room know all too well. And I'm the director of the China and Asia Pacific Studies Program, or CAPS. CAPS began as a vision of Michael Zach, an idea, indeed as a wake-up call, that the study of the relations between China, the United States, and the Asia Pacific region is too important to leave to the amateurs. When I first began learning about China, just out of college, the challenge to those of us who were so deeply drawn to China was how to educate people about a topic as complex as China when these same people knew so little. And since I didn't know much more myself, that was even more of an undertaking. Today, I think the challenge that we find ourselves with is a different one, a more difficult one. It is to compete with the cacophony of conventional wisdom and common sense, and both of those are in scare quotes, which very often turns out to be neither. From the mouths of people who see themselves as self-proclaimed China experts. And of course, anybody who's spent more than 30 seconds in China know, as soon as somebody calls you a zhongguotong, your response is not, sure. So to those of you non-Mandarin speakers, or whatever document I just spoke, in China, when somebody calls you a China expert, the proper response is to say, no, you must have me confused with somebody else. Not, yeah, I guess you could say that. And so one of the sure ways in which we can tell somebody is an expert or not is if they conceive themselves as an expert, they clearly don't know what they're talking about. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. A poorly informed understanding of China can be catastrophic. I don't think I'm engaging in hyperbole. The idea behind CAPS is that the language and methodology of Sino-US Asia-Pacific studies has to be taught and it has to be learned. If you want to be a lawyer, you go to law school. If you want to be a doctor, you go to medical school. If you want to be literate in and practice China, you major or minor in CAPS. CAPS exists to train the next generation of young China hands. It provides them with the language skills, the community and network, the exposure to the policy world of Washington, D.C., and to China unfiltered and unplugged through the off-campus semester at Beijing University. With such training, they are indeed or will soon become young China hands. And as director, I can channel Mao Zedong when I look at CAP students and alums as Mao did to Hua Guofeng and say, before I move on to thank the many people, the many people who made this possible, one of the things that I'd like to just let you know is that there have been a few changes in the schedule, so please note that accordingly. Our keynote speaker, Mike Zach, is still grounded in Boston, but we're optimistic. As Mao would say, the situation remains excellent. So we will hopefully see things through. But what that means is that we'll have to shuffle around some of the program scheduled events. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip his keynote address with the CAPS students panel. And so at 10:20, we will have, assuming that I don't go on too long, at 10:20 we will have the remarks from Jia Qingguo, who's the Dean of the School of International Studies at Beijing University. And then at between 10:25 and 10:30, depending on how long it takes to get everybody situated, we'll start the student panel. Okay, so this event has been a long time in the making. There were all sorts of ideas whether we were going to do this in Washington, or whether we were going to do something in Beijing, and we decided that Ithaca, it makes sense for Ithaca to be the place where we do this, because this is really where CAPS began. There are many people, too many people to acknowledge, and I'm certainly going to miss somebody, and so let me apologize in advance and blame that on the early onset of middle age. At the very, very top of the list are the people who financially made this possible. People like Mike Zack, Adam Levinson, and a robust group of extremely generous donors, including Bruce Hack, Bob Miller, Emma and Carol McCorkle, Jeff McCorkle, Karen Lim, Stephen Mong, Da Zhu, and Wu Ye, Bill Field, Jill Klein. These have all provided the financial means to animate CAPS from an idea into a fully functioning program. And we thank them very, very much, as well as those who I don't have the time to name. Sherm Cochran and Peter Katzenstein were two early key supporters of CAPS. The Cornell Department of History, CAPS' former home, nurtured the program during its early years, as did Professor Chen Jian. Unfortunately, none of them could make it here today, but we remain nonetheless extremely grateful for all they have done. The College of Arts and Sciences, under Peter Lepage, and now under Dean Gretchen Ritter, has provided the nurturing environment so necessary for us to grow the CAPS program. In recent years, Harry Shaw, Walter Cohen, Ken Roberts, and now Ted O'Donoghue have been tremendously supportive and wise in their advice to us. I thank Jan Conrad and David Whitmore, as well as Ma Hongnan, on the development side of things for all their tireless work in getting the CAPS word out. I also include Lori Damiani with particularly special thanks. The Asian Studies Department has been a key component to CAPS' success. Their excellent Chinese language instruction team provides a vital pillar to the CAPS experience. Their infinite patience and grace in helping us navigate the challenges in maintaining our standards in language training are very, very much appreciated. Thank you, Stephanie Givo, Felicia Tang, Qiu Yun, Wei Ching Su George, Francis Yufeng Li Mehta, Yu Rui, and Xu Li. Cornell in Washington is another important part of CAPS, providing important teaching and internship experiences for our students. I have been lucky to enjoy the opportunity to spend time with Bob Hutchins and with David Silvey. In fact, I saw David yesterday as I was picking up the students. And it was really cute the way everybody was seeing them off. And it was like parents seeing their kids off to college, kind of looking at you like, "Are you sure you're a driver in good standing?" and all that kind of stuff. Cynthia Watson and before her Richard Bush are integral parts of CAPS operations there. I've heard wonderful things about Lilu as well, so I'm delighted. And of course, Glenn Altschuler. I should just pause for a moment to say that Mike Zack's plane is now taxiing. Okay. In our Beijing operations, many thanks go to Jia Qingguo, Wang Jise, Duan Hong, Hao Xingyao, Li Yun, Wang Chunyang, and our newest member of the CAPS team over there, Qi Kai, who many of you know. It seemed like every time I would drive around Ithaca, I would see Qi Kai jogging somewhere. He was a tremendous CAPS booster. Since 2013, CAPS has been placed within the government department. Then Chair Nick Vanderwall worked very closely with me and with Judy Virgilio to make that transition as smooth as possible. I owe them a lot. Michael Jones Correa and Denny Sloman have continued in their footsteps and have made it possible for CAPS to make it possible for CAPS. Things are looking good. To make possible the hiring of Jeremy Wallace and Jessica Chen Weiss, our two newest colleagues who, together with dinosaurs like Alan Carlson and myself, make Cornell's government department the top place in the United States to study Chinese politics. Other CAPS associates, past and present, include Liu Warner, Robin McNeil, Eli Friedman, Wang Qi, Nancy Chow, and Victor Siu. I have the honor and privilege of working with an amazing team. Professor Xu Xin, the Associate Director of CAPS, cannot be here today, even though this event is in many ways a tribute to his tremendous efforts over the years. He is the heart and soul of CAPS. CAPS Assistant Director Wang Haiyan is an invaluable colleague and friend. who has become the face of CAPS to the students and to me. Even when she was what seemed to be 13 months pregnant, she would go to huge undergraduate lecture classes to advertise to CAPS. Each day she makes sure that I make exponentially fewer mistakes than I otherwise would. Thank you, Haya. And the person who has probably spent more time on this event is our newest addition, Dina Mihalakis, who has, in her short time with us, injected CAPS with a spate of new initiatives and incredible positive energy. Thank you, Dina. After thanking all these people, I feel a little like somebody who's just won an Academy Award with the speech ending music just seconds away from being played. So let me not overstay my welcome here and segue into introducing Dean Gretchen Ritter. Dean Ritter is the Harold Tanner Dean of Arts and Sciences. In her 2+ short years at Cornell, Dean Ritter has infused the office with a can-do spirit and a culture of professionalism that is deeply appreciated by myself and many of my colleagues. She has also been a booster of CAPS from the get-go. Dean Ritter met CAPS students during the semester in Beijing in 2013, fall semester, and has consistently and enthusiastically supported the program. I can think of no person I would rather have in my corner. Please welcome Dean Gretchen Ritter.